Welcome back to another episode of Voices of Change, where we explore stories, ideas, and movements shaping our world today. I'm your host here, Tex and with me, as always, is my co-host.
Gabe Martinez coming to you live and direct. Happy to be here.
Yeah. But before we jump into today, we're gonna start off with the word of the week. You know, we missed last week, but we back here, so something to set the tone for today's discussion, right? I'm gonna let you, Gabe, take off from here and start it off with some word of the week, some words of wisdom, or something.
All right, I come to always bring some relief, knowledge, words of wisdom. So I'm happy to get this week's word out. So right now, we're gonna focus on innovation, right? And so briefly, innovation to me, right, and how that relates to our theme right now is that to continuously improve, to continuously change the processes so that we can streamline systems, whether that be with people, whether that be with our systems at work, or be with the way that we think about the world. I think moving forward, when it comes to our innovation, that if we are able to do such things, bring different people, work together, that as a community, as a world together, we can use innovation and keep us moving forward. Yes, sir. Amen.
That leads up perfectly into our guest today. Someone whose work embodies this concept in powerful ways, like innovator. Even like said he created his own major. Like, I ain't never heard that before. Um, so introducing today, our guest is going to be Victor Allen Weeks. He is a word farmer, land steward, and multimedia artist from Atlanta, Georgia. His roots in creative media began in the soils of poetry, painting, and photography, and evolved into coupling, songwriting, filmmaking, and global story amplification, encouraging individuals to seek self-actualization for community enhancement. A family lineage connected to Piedmont, okay, and low country land cultivation further reinforced his curiosity and action in both urban and rural agriculture. Over the years, Mr. Weeks recognized the congruence of words and seeds, both having the potential to feed the minds, bodies, and spirits of those willing to listen and digest what was sown, then grown, hence the conception of the term word farming. Now, we got Mr. Weeks here. What's up, my brother? Welcome to the Voices of Change.
Welcome.
What's good? Tex, Gabe, it's good to be here with y'all. Thank you for having me. It's a beautiful
Yes, sir.
privilege to be in this same space, and I'm excited to dive in. Yeah. Ooh, popular.
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my phone to stop ringing right now. Yeah, man, it's exciting to have you here today. But first, for those who may not know you, can you give us a quick introduction to your journey, and what led you to being who you are today, man?
Most definitely. Quick introduction. Again, my name is Victor Allen. It's my first name. It's hyphenated. I'm from Atlanta, West Side, Zone 4. I'm SWAT, baby. Southwest Atlanta, too strong, you know. I think I'm here today because of folks that chose not to give up on whatever journey that they had before them, and also just like a product of just folks recognizing that their life and their gifts are gifts from God specifically. And no, I just really gotta attribute being here to like the lineage that was like, yeah, we're gonna persevere. We don't know what's gonna come up next, but we gotta keep going so we can at least see the next generation, be present. So a lot of my family comes from the South, like South Georgia, like Sandersville, Wake Cross, Savannah, and like Charleston area, South Carolina, like Middle Georgia. And yeah, it's just like a conglomeration, as I mentioned, and it says in the bio, just like this low country Piedmont region. And like my folks was tough in the country. They was country, for real. But like I was born in Atlanta, the city. And the thing that was so perplexing to people around me was that I just had this gravitation towards being outside all the time, even though we're in the city, taking the bus, taking the train, skateboarding, biking, doing all these other things. But I just had to be outside. That was how I was able to center myself, find a sense of peace and just so much chaos going on, especially in a town where, like, you know, you find out at a young age that, oh, the amount of jail cells they're building are based off of the test scores of like young folks, right? And I'm just like, no, this is crazy. Like, there's gotta be another way out. There's gotta be a way for me to create my circumstances and create my opportunities and not just be subject to what a system has proposed as a plan for me. So I think that's kind of why I'm here today.
Oh. Woo. Now that was eloquently said. Yes, sir. Ooh. There's going to be a lot to unpack today, so thank you again for sharing. We appreciate to have you on, Vic. Moving forward, I'll hand it off to Tex. Let's go. So,
Yeah, so for this next segment, Gabe, you're gonna take the lead. It's gonna be the mental health and youth empowerment aspect. So I'll let y'all chop it up. I'll be here listening, and if I got anything to chime in on, I'm listening in. But yeah,
Chime.
take it in, take it over, Gabe.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Mr. Midas
Victor,
Martinez. Sorry.
he's coming in crazy. Appreciate you, sir. For the continued excellence. Now, so Victor, I wanted to really dive into the conceptual theory around what is a word farmer, and like could you describe that for yourself? Like what is that, and break it down, because it's kind of like a concept that we can potentially connect to like mental health and youth empowerment. Like, what would that look like in your eyes?
For sure, for sure. So I mean, as I was growing up, like I was writing poetry, right? Like my mom still got some of my oldest poems framed and whatnot, which is really cool to see, like, their appreciation for the various stages of my artistic expression throughout the years. And so, like, that was kind of my foundation for being able to channel my words and my emotions into not only just like a physical piece, but something that I express through voice and express like the inner workings of my soul and through this artistic expression of literature and writing. And then like just honing that from like summer camps, meeting other folks that want to freestyle, and then have it like, I remember I first got my Facebook page, me and my homie, we would like get on around the same time. We just like rap like in the Facebook Messenger, and that was like 15 years ago, right? But and think about all these different checkpoints, right? Of just finding different folks that I could continue to express myself, like, and practice this aspect of hip hop music specifically. Like there's um the whole spectrum and the whole family of hip hop, but like specifically just like the writing and the rap and the MCing. I got to practice that like along the way at different stages, different intervals, mentors, peers, which is dope. At the same time, concurrently, right, I had family that was deeply rooted in just like agriculture. Like one of my favorite aunts, she will always like on her travels back and forth from like New York to Sandersville, where our family's from. She will bring me like seeds, or she will bring me like a plant or starter plant or whatnot. And it was just beautiful to be able to like have that and start practicing agriculture at a young age. And that really touched me, like, for real, just to be able to grow something, produce something, eat it, and be like, wow, like this came from like my hands in this soil, right? And just taking the time to care and cultivate something to be able to like feed people and see the response and the reaction of folks, being able to have that as a tangible like result. So did that, and like I said, like these paths moving at the same time, like chugging along. So from like middle school, just like freestyling, writing raps, making some songs, some throwaways, some exist on YouTube forever ago. Doing that in high school, going to summer programs, having a mentor, just like getting shown the ropes of what does it mean to like really be an MC and embody that energy. At the same time, like getting into high school, and some friends that were already kind of like in the engineering track, and they were doing like some agriculture inside. And but when we moved back to our school once it was finished being renovated, we had a whole like outside space to grow food, right? And so we was like, okay, let's start the Urban Agriculture and Horticulture Society at Benjamin May High School. And we did that. And like just growing food, making music, and continued that into college. And after I graduated college, I was just again still doing agriculture, still doing like creating music, right? and writing, and so it just hit me. I'm like, what am I gonna call this? Because I don't just rap. It's deeper than just rap. See, I'm not just saying
Hmm.
something just to say it. And for a while, like I was making music just for the fun of it. But I'm like, there's like a duty and responsibility to it. I think one thing that really hit me was it was like one summer I went back home and I did a mural on my side of town. And one person hit me up on Instagram, like, hey yo, like I seen that mural and like I appreciate you saying that. And it said be the best you. And I'm like, wow, like from this art here on the mural in my side of town in the corner that's really popular. I don't know how many people see it, but even if one person says like, dang, that inspired them, I'm like, yeah, these words really do have like a bigger weight for me. So I felt a
Mm.
duty and a responsibility as an artist, as a poet, to be able to like, as somebody who has the privilege to use their voice and speak and have platforms. I'm like, well, it's deeper than just rap. It's deeper than just lyricism. This is like word farming for real. I just coined the term, I think, as far as I know. And I was like, well, I mean, literally, our words are seeds. The same thing. Like, if we meet each other for the first time, and I'm like, Gabe,
Mm.
appreciate you. Your smile, it lights up this room. Like the joy that you bring to this situation, we needed that here. Like that sowed a seed of just like inspiration and joy. And you
Mm.
never know how people are coming into a space. They may have gone through something traumatic or like deep, and just to provide some words to like put a little kindness into their life, it could really
Mm.
pivot things in people's lives, vice versa. Like saying something mean and nasty, like that's degrading, it's detracting. And like you plant the same seeds in the ground. Like if you plant something, you take care of it, you're gonna receive a harvest versus like if you plant something, you just leave it alone. Like like
Mm.
what do you really pour into the things that you create? So that's how I came to the term as a word farmer. And I really believe it's not just like hip hop rap specific. I believe you all should be word farmers or whatever element that we're studying and discipline that we're practicing. It's just like truly recognizing the responsibility of creating things that are going to really feed, nourish people for forever long. We get to do this plan.
Whew. Now that Now that was powerful. Man, we appreciate you, Vic. Thank you so much. And just what I've ascertained from that, it sounds like the bigger picture of word farming. Yes, it started as a mere instance, a seed, right? You're freestyling, and that evolved into a agricultural group in high school, and then it evolved even further to now in life. It's not just an action, but it's a framework that we can all embody ourselves. It sounds like when it comes to word farming, it's like you said, it's kind of like the reaping and sowing. It's what you give out into the world and how that can change somebody's entire perspective, their entire perception, right? If you could speak life into someone, you could speak death into someone. It all depends on your approach. And it's how masterfully that you have put that all together. Hey, I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll tell you now, you might want to patent that. That's a good one right there, Vic. Come on now, yes sir. So,
And appreciate you.
yes, sir. I did want to go into our next question. So, it sounds like a lot of your work now does focus on young people, right? And in addition as well, self-actualization. So, in your own words, well, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges facing youth today in terms of personal and collective growth?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really great question, and it's making me reminisce on my journey to even becoming a educator in this space today. So I remember when I was younger, I always knew like I didn't like going to school, but I like the concept of learning, right? I was like, yeah, school and knowledge, okay. But I feel like at some point in my life, I was going to be an educator, and it kind of started
Mm.
when I had a counselor position at this art summer camp, and that was really dope because I was just working with students to create art. Like I love it. I'm making art, and I'm making art with them. And I think what was pivotal was that like I remember growing up and having like some art teachers that was like, um, don't do that, but some art teachers like do it all. And I really gravitated towards that do it all mentality. And I was like, you don't know
Mm.
truly like what does it mean to have a canvas? What does it mean to have a paintbrush, a pencil, oil pastels, like spray paint, like all these things and these tools, like we get to truly express ourselves uninhibited through this methodology we call art. And through other positions like I said, the summer camp, through volunteering at the ADG Learn Work program as a Bonner Scholar and helping with after school programming, doing some stuff through Freedom Schools, volunteering and being a summer guide at this program called the Ultimate Life Summit with the teaching 7 mindsets to young folks to help them with the ultimate life. Like all these different checkpoints were allowing me to get more reps and more XP in just being an educator in like small group settings to large group settings, and then speaking, and then like performing at my college campus. Like we did shows every semester except for 2, because either one, like some folks was abroad, we like we don't spend that time, right? But then like this platform, this acclamation to the platform, which is like second nature to me. And I remember like I had that presentation for my college, and that was dope. And it was about community activism and change and using arts. And I got to kind of first create this outline for arts as a method for like community change. And then fast forward to graduating, then I did a presentation for Bonner Scholars at a university, at my home college. And then I'm starting to lead like groups of students through high school and middle school and agriculture, like trying these different things. And I think just that route was just like wild, just to be like, oh snap, like I didn't see it, but God planned this whole thing out. That's wild, bro. And like
Come on now.
to go back to like what youth are needing and missing, I felt for me, it was that ability to, or not the ability, the welcoming nature to say like, yeah, you're gonna make some mistakes along the route, but you need to just like create, you need to just build, you need to just have the space to do it. Free write, sandbox, play, do it, explore, express, discover. And I do my best to make sure that the young folks that I work with know that I'm not gonna like reprimand them for trying something new. I'm like, no, you're figuring out ways work for you, figuring out ways that don't work for you. And I can give you advice. I can give you game for things that may or may not work for me. And I can tell you, hey, this action may lead to that. But I'm not going to say, don't ever, like, because we all discover things differently. We all understand things differently. I think what's really pertinent right now is that the youth know that they're not just the future, like they're the now. Like they're the ones that have a grip on this technology. They're the ones that have an understanding of honestly international relations through social media, right? How many folks are thinking about international relations on that type of level? They think we're like, we put the World Economic Forum and the G20 on these huge stages, but how many folks are building relationships internationally through like their phones, through gaming systems, through all these different things, and just like ways of, again, expressing creativity and just ideation. But I just really want the young folks to know that they have a lot more power than a lot of older generations can like encourage them to like take reign of. And there definitely needs to be like intergenerational appreciation, because as I'm not an old head, right? But as like a mature, like I can appreciate being able to receive game from my elders, because I know they're not going to be here forever, but I know they have valuable experiences that I should at least try to take some note of, so I can apply it by the time I get to that age in the way I see it. And I tell this to the young folks I work with now. I'm like, I'm giving you a game that I just got, or I can give you a game that I got 5 years ago. You're 10 years younger than me. So imagine you applying it now, you'll be multitude times stronger, better, faster, smarter than I am by the time you get to my age. So hope that answered the question.
More than answered. You're preaching to the choir right here, man. Just piggybacking off of what you last said, right? It's what it sounds like is that in summation of everything, it's not only the methodology in which you and yourself found your own self-actualization, but also bringing that and exposing children, the youth, to that, where it is, you're not necessarily going to find yourself by not doing this or by doing this, but you find it, like you said, getting the experience, the repetitions, leaning on one another, your community, but then also learning from those that have come before you, and then those that are here with you now, your peers, right? when it comes to the intergenerational appreciation, I that one really spoke to me right there. Just simply being because, I for one, I love to spread what I know, the knowledge that I have to those that can actually use it. To those that in whichever way, shape, or form, whether it's you're 10 years old, you're 20 years old, you're 30 years old, you're maybe 50 or what have you, right? I feel like the sharing of that information and the education um, helps to prove and push us all forward in that regard. When it comes to what you're speaking about in terms of okay, getting your experience doing the performances and then also being an educator, I think that paves the way forward for our viewers out there, especially is that that not saying there's nothing new under the sun, but you don't know until you try, and trying different avenues, right? You've been able to sift through the wreckage of what it is and find your way in life. Everybody's way isn't going to be the same, but we can all learn from each other. So we really do appreciate that. Thank you, Victor.
Most definitely. And
Yes,
if I
sir.
may, I'm gonna say something else. I'm gonna keep it quick, but I'm gonna keep it real. Something else
Yeah.
young folks need to know. It's just like knowing who the enemy is. Like this world is
Mm.
spiritual warfare going on for real. And like we gotta know that there are honestly like for real, Satan trying to take out as many young folks as possible, as many people as possible, and using physical means, whether that's relationships, using drugs, using violence, using like this oligarchy, plutocracy, whatever we living in, whatever, like so many distractions to try to get us to feel like we can't break these limitations that the world tries to put on us. But I want young folks to challenge themselves. I want anybody to challenge themselves and say, nah, I'm not just going to do that thing. That's just the easiest thing to do. Because like, nah, that's low hanging fruit. Yeah, you can eat, but when you climb that tree, I'm telling you, it's so much better. You see so much clearer.
Mm.
And then once you up in the tree, you can throw that down to other people so they get a sense of it as well. So whatever that means, whoever grabs that, that was on my spirit to say as well.
Yes, sir. I'm going to coin that as Victor's piece of advice for the youth right there. That's the one. Strive for the best. Keep on climbing. Come on now. Yes,
Well,
sir. Yes, sir. So appreciate you, Vic. I think that'll sum us up for the segment 2. Now I'm going to pass it on to Tex for segment 3. Yes, sir.
Man, I was just listening in and loving it and soaking it all up. I used to have this counselor in high school, or no, middle school. He used to always say in the intercom, be a sponge. And I just felt like I was a sponge right now. So I was, and I'm still a youth as well. So, you spend game to me to where I'm like, oh, shit, I gotta, let me listen up real quick. Now kind of diving into our next segment of the day, we just talked about like your approach to youth empowerment as well as how they approach those things. Now let's kind of dive into the farming part of the word farming of things. The environmental stewardship and land connection that you have. We had the great pleasure. We actually are in the same cohort right now with the People's Climate Innovation Center, and we are, what is it, the Youth Colors Leaders cohort.
Young Climate
Um,
Leaders, the color YCLC,
yes, yeah,
hosted by the People's Climate
YCLC.
Innovation Center. Yes.
Yes, sir. We are both part of that, and we're in the same cohort this year. So I know that's how we got the great pleasure of enjoying LA. It was great being there, man. Great time, great exposure. So now let's kind of deep dive into kind of your environmental stewardship and land connections. Um, how, like, you have deep roots in land stewardship and environmental advocacy. How did that part of your journey begin?
And so like I said, I gotta take it back to like going down to Sandersville, Georgia, every time to time, and just seeing like how much land my family had down there, and just like hearing stories from my grandma talking about the cows and the donkeys, chickens, and all and the land and the food that it was growing, and like being in the city and not really having that opportunity. Especially like growing up, dude, like pretty much all the place we stayed in until our most recent residence was rented. And so really didn't know how to, I really didn't know how to take control and take ownership of that land in that way. But getting in high school, I mean, like I said, my aunt would give me plants and I'll grow them from time to time. Um, And I want to couple in like I kept fish for 9 years, and that's gonna loop back in later. But getting at high school, my friends and I was like, well, like they was already doing some stuff while I was agriculture related, growing food related. And then when we got back to Benjamin Age and it was renovated, we had more space. We had an outdoor space to grow food. We was like, well, let's start an actual club and let's dedicate like 1 or 2, sometimes 3 days a week or however. Let's go after school and just like spend time out here in the green space, right? Grow food. And it started small because it was just like us just hanging out just outside, just putting our hands in the dirt, just seeing where we can go. But it grew into something that became a beacon, I think, honestly, for the city. Like we were able to get a grant from Hartsfield Jackson Airport, and we had a greenhouse built, and so we were growing food outside and inside at this point. And then, when I mentioned I kept fish for 9 years, I had aquariums for a lot of my life, and I was like, well, can we incorporate aquaponics and hydroponics, like being able to use these water systems to grow food as well in a more efficient way? And also create 2 different food sources, the fish for meat and then the plants for your other sustenance as well, vitamins, things like that. And there's like, yeah, let's try it. And so we did that. And then the food we are able to grow, like that capacity multiplied. And then next thing you know, like we're able to sub like man, just substitute like some of the food that our cafeteria is getting. It's like after school programs, like we're giving away plants and having plant sales on some weekends, and folks will walk in, like they walk around our campus because it's kind of like an open campus, and they see the greenhouse and they just stop by after school, see growing stuff. And like I said, I think it really became a beacon for the city. I didn't even know how big our program was until I like graduated college, and they came back and was like, oh, yeah, like this is, I didn't even know this. Somebody told me like 60,000 something. I don't know, something's some
Damn.
tens of thousands of pounds of food have been grown in our greenhouse. I'm not sure over how much of the span of time that was, but I'm like, we wasn't even trying to quantify that. We were just doing it because we loved it. And taking that light with me into college, I tried to get involved with like the on-campus agriculture. It didn't really hit that way, but I found where I was supposed to be through a course that I took called African Healing and Religion in the American South. Talk about like Trace Cups, and we ended up making our way through a field study of Low Country, Georgia, South Carolina. Went to the Stewart A. Rose Archives, went to Savannah, went up to Charleston, got to see a couple plantations, real like and in present day for real. And then we also made an important stop down on Sapelo Island, which is one of the last autonomous Gullah Geechee communities in the South. And if you're not familiar with the Gullah Geechee corridor, this is the region where enslaved West Africans and like the folks in the Caribbean were brought over to like populate and then also grow like your sea island cotton, your rice, sugar cane, all these different cash crops. But like you got to think like these are environments that are like hot, muggy, bug dense, like gators, snakes, like all this stuff. Like it's marshy, it's swampy, it's intense. But like these people persevere, and like this is like it's one of the basis of the African diaspora, not only through the Southeast, but like the United States as well. And it was just so fascinating to us, and it was funny because like after we finished up our tour, um, our professor was like, if you need help, call us. And then our tour guide and the farmer that I still work with to this day, Maurice Bailey, he said, I will, don't worry. Turns out about a month later, Hurricane Irma hit, caused quite a bit of destruction on the island. And so they requested some help to help clean up one of the church grounds. So we went back, did that, and it was dope because some students helped, like students organize. I was a part of that committee to organize. It's like 6 of us to go down during our fall break to help out. And so did that, got a grant from the Bonner Foundation, which was dope, did a little service project, but then found that there was a greater convergence of food sovereignty because like Sapelo Island is accessible only by ferry or by private boat if you have one. And it's like the food accessibility, like people have land and people have kind of like their own small gardens. But there was, we noticed that there was a greater desire to increase like what agricultural production could look like, because agriculture isn't just a form of like eating and sustenance, but it's a form of cultural preservation. Like you have heirloom crops and heritage crops that are the seeds that are grown from 13, 14 generations, grown, replanted, right? Seeds are saved, stories are told and preserved through agriculture. And this created a whole new perspective of what it meant to grow food and to use land, especially in a state that has historically kind of like
Catch your breath there, brother.
smudged
Catch your
for
breath.
real, man. Like,
You were here spitting game. I was like, catch your breath, catch your
I,
breath.
I appreciate that, right? But like has historically kind of like smudged, smeared, and disavowed the existence of um, African American, Black American, Indigenous, Native American folks in the state, and just like in this region of the South in itself, it's kind of like it's wiped out that existence, and it's honestly it's ongoing as well, right? And so we're like, no, like growing food and using this land, it's bigger than just you just growing some sugar cane and some red peas. Like if we weren't doing this, how much easier could the state just come in eminent domain all of this shit themselves? And so yeah, it just became a different, had a different meaning. And so, like,
Wow.
after that, we were able to lead student groups down, like, kind of during our collegiate era. And then even after we graduated, we're still leading student groups down into this day. I graduated 5, 6 years ago, right? Imagine it, like, that's something that we're still doing. And it's just created a whole nother avenue of what it means to build a network of folks that can have this type of experience and get this type of historical lesson on land that is just so special and sacred. And yeah,
Wow, that's real awesome, man. You know, as you were saying that, honestly, you hit on point on every other single question that actually we had planned to ask for you today. So actually, that's amazing because it's a great way for us to kind of come to the next segment we're gonna be having. Um, and I just wanted a quick question. I'm actually curious to ask: do you be going to the grocery store? Because it seemed like you are such a farmer and you have that ability to you can grow your own food. When the last time you went to what grocery store you be going to? Because I wanna know where's the good stuff I can get. I want to eat that healthy good stuff.
I'm gonna keep it real. I do go to the grocery store. So my intermittence in a single area prevents me or makes it more difficult to actually cultivate for a long season of time. Like it's gotten to a point where I'm home for maybe 1 or 2 weeks every other month, right? And but that doesn't mean like we're still not like cultivating things. Like I'll plant some seeds, come back into it, and it's not as great of a harvest as it could be if I was doing it every single day. We're able to harvest and save some seeds from different seasons, all right? Like my friends, we've been able to turn their yards into green spaces and growing food. So we share seeds, we do seed swaps, plant swaps. To the grocery store question, Kroger right down the street from me. Sometimes it's just a matter of accessibility. So going there, getting veggies, sometimes going to Publix, because fortunately that's right down the street as well. And we're afforded opportunity, go up to the north side, get up to Trader Joe's or, get to Costco. And I remember like when that wasn't always the case, like we grew up where the only store we could really afford was like Wayfield down the street, like we had a good we could get. And so it's just also been amazing just to like take a step back and watch how social mobility changes the different spheres that we get to experience and communicate in. And this also just making sure that even in our own social mobility, we're still bringing awareness to those that haven't experienced that type of movement, um, lateral or vertical in that financial sector. So just maintaining that advocacy component for folks that aren't as fortunate as I am. But no, whatever grocery store I can get to, I'm gonna hit that veggie section. And I go to
Okay,
Home
okay,
Depot, get some seeds
okay,
everywhere, seeds are
okay.
fresh.
In the
Yeah,
West Coast, we don't know what Publix is. So I found out about Publix when I was in the South. So
I
yeah,
still don't
that's
know
the
what it
crazy
is.
part. Publix, it's like I don't know. It's like the Rayleighs, I think, because I don't even know they got Rayleighs in this in that. I don't know. It's like
I've been to
Rayleighs
rallies.
or like Bevmo
Yeah,
or like I don't know. I don't know what to compare, but Publix pretty nice. They be having that good. I ain't gonna lie. I used to just go there to get the sandwiches sometimes and their fried chicken. It was pretty good. Um, but
That
now
sandwich
let's.
shop go crazy, huh?
Yeah, that sandwich was
Yeah.
yeah, I think
get
Okay.
it
that was
toasted on
it's
the
Okay.
multi-grain
yeah, it's
oil,
pretty
With
vinegar,
the multi,
oregano.
oh yeah,
a
it's fire.
little aioli. So, oh, go crazy.
Man, that's
You
I used
know,
to eat that. I used to eat Publix sandwiches like every week at least once, just cause. But now let's kind of like shift into kind of the next topic of conversation. We're gonna talk about blockchain. You mentioned this when we was in LA for a little bit, and I have maybe my understanding of blockchain. I don't know. I know Gabe is curious about blockchain
Very,
and how it can be
very.
used in, I guess, agriculture and environmental stewardship. And I know you've explored how blockchain can be used like beyond crypto, in ways that uplift communities. Can you share like what's your perspective on that in terms of like what is it that you're currently pushing for when it comes to blockchain within, the education sector, agriculture, and other industries?
absolutely. So to break it down first, so blockchain is something. It's a concept that is built on top of this idea that's called distributed ledger technology. So what a distributed ledger essentially means is that Tex, yourself, Gabe, yourself, and I, Victor Allen, we all share the same ledger, and all the transactions that we make are part of this ledger, a part of this ecosystem, a part of this layer one or layer two platform. All that is written on the ledger, and so all of it is
Mm.
taken account for, right? You have public ledgers and you have private ledgers, right? So cryptocurrency is built on top of the distributed ledger technology that enables folks to place value that they put into an economic system and kind of fuel that economic system in itself, right? So kind of see it as the new iteration of the stock market. And as companies have stocks, right? But you also have these things called stable coins, which are supposed to be a one-to-one exchange rate from other currencies that are gold-backed currency, right? So blockchain, I feel, is really like, I remember my big bro put me on about 7 years ago, and I was like, that's cool, but I don't really see my use of it, right? But then I found my use for it. As an artist, I remember back in 2021, I was on Twitter a lot, and there were a bunch of different Twitter spaces with artists and folks like just talking about, hey, NFTs, right? And so part of that, I was like, well, I wonder what's in it for like me as an artist and like creating NFTs in a sense. And so NFT stands for non-fungible token. So in a sense, like if this is a non-fungible token, like you can take a picture of it and be like, I have it, but no, it has a digital, it's locked into a digital address because it has a hash, which is a cryptographic output that says this is exactly what this is, and you can't
Mm.
forge it. With quantum cryptography and quantum computation, we're getting to the point where some of these hacks and our current cryptographic methods can be broken. So be on the lookout for more quantum stuff. But essentially, like, just again get back into my jump point. Like us artists, we like, hey, Art Basel, Miami, let's go. What are we gonna do? Hey y'all, let's book a studio out. How are we gonna pay for the studio? Hey y'all, let's all mint our own NFTs and create like what called smart contracts, or what enable the transactions to process on the blockchain, right? And so I set up my NFT so that 90% of the funds that were generated from folks purchasing my song will go to this thing called the DAO, in a treasury, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And so the DAO had a treasury. 90% of my profits and other people's profits from the NFTs went toward that treasury. And once the goal was reached, that DAO purchased 12 hours of studio time for us artists, right? And so we locked in and made so many songs, right? And so this is a use case ended up just getting more inspired with that, and like, okay, what else can be done with it, and how can we just like help other artists get put on the game? Because one is like, not only is my song tokenized on the blockchain and like imprinted on the blockchain, so like there's like the authentication and the verification of this asset. Um, it's like also just like, wow, like I could automatically set up splits with my producer or my manager or another artist that I'm working with, and not have to worry about it because the smart contract takes care of it. And going back in time, like there was a lot of backlash on it because the computation that it took was very energy consuming, right? But getting to a point where, again, Gabe, you mentioned the word innovation. How do we apply these new methodologies? We're so smart, y'all. We're so smart that like we're too smart to just figure out how to make our money, make more money. Let's solve problems. Let's, for real, help people, serve people, be altruistic with the technology that we create. But it got to a point where like the 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 computation of, I forget where I read it, but Ethereum, which is a layer one, when they transitioned to from proof of work to a proof of stake protocol, meaning that the ETH that you have, you can stake it, and folks like delegate that, right? Its energy consumption, I think, went to that of less than what PayPal currently uses in its energy consumption, right? And I was like, oh, snap. So we can make this more efficient. We can do it. You can run a blockchain, you can mine, you can do these things on a Raspberry Pi. And that's a device you can have literally in a keyboard and just plug it in to have your own monitor, like use significantly less energy to do significantly more things. But fast forward, ended up working with some alum from my school, joined a company called Payken, Payken, and our whole thing was like, first, it was like we made the branch called Reset, rep your side, rep your set, reset, helping artists like mint music on as NFTs. But then we're like, all right, boom, with all these artists, let's do a concept. Oh, snap, the NFTs that you got from this artist, that's your ticket. If you got it, cool. We'll just scan your NFC and verify it's in your wallet. Boom, now you're into the event. Oh, well, we're throwing events. Let's make our own event management platform. Boom, now you can have event management and ticketing on the same platform. Well, you must be able to have a digital storefront. If you have event management, you have your own pages. It became a digital storefront, and it's like it's really limitless in what we can create with this technology. And I think it's really important that we think about what use cases we have for various ecosystems, especially when it comes to agriculture, especially when it comes to land sovereignty. Like one thing that I really think about is, okay, all the folks that are typically migrant workers that may not have the same educational opportunities as other folks that build these buildings, what is it like for them to get royalties, perpetual royalties to them or their families after the building is built by tracing that with blockchain? Hey, you built this building, every time like somebody pays to like lease this building or whatnot, you're going to get a fraction of that back to your automatic blockchain wallet, creating generational wealth for people that are typically just like seasonal employees. Like thinking about that, or thinking about what does it look like within a farmer's market or agricultural system to have their own currency, to say, hey, you use these tokens and it costs these amount of tokens for this amount, this weight of food, things like that. And just having folks divest from the systems that typically oppress us and invest into the systems that they want to create, which is why I'm just like, y'all, we're too smart to just how we make this money, make more money. We got to solve today and tomorrow's problems, issues, just ideate. And really just like, I've been so privileged because, again, just doing what I love has opened doors for me, and like not looking back, for real. Like I'm a filmmaker, photographer by trade. Been practicing that for 14 years. And then I got into the archival space of blockchain conferences. So like I'll take photos here, take videos there, and the folks are like, hey, we need you on the team. And so as a photographer, but not just a photographer, videographer, I become the director. And so I get to move people, direct people, hey, get up there, and you to move, because I'm doing my thing, you on my way. And folks respect that, right? But also being in a space where I get to hear so many conversations. And at first I was just kind of like that fly on the wall, but I'm like, no, I'm here. I'm the only brother here. So let me speak up and make a comment, right? And it became a point where folks not only knew me for like taking videos and taking photos, but having what folks may consider as profound comments on, no, how do we make sure that we're not recreating the same problematic system that we already try to escape? Um,
Wow,
yeah.
man. That is, I feel like I just went through a blockchain 101 class. I saw Gabe there taking notes and stuff. I hope he took some good notes, man, because I feel
Come
like I
on
got
now, shoot.
feel like I feel like I got an exam coming up after that whole session of you just explaining that. It's just really, I think it's something that, as you mentioned, that it definitely can be able to divest into systems that have been used to keep people at the same level, and use it as a way to actually invest in yourself, and invest in these communities. Um, and I think blockchain technology is something I've also looked into, and I've seen how it can play a role in terms of land rights, food, sovereignty, or even artistic ownership. And I have a little sister who wants to be an artist, and that's something I have been trying so hard now, because she has so many paintings and so many things. But now it's that digital aspect of things, to where, the same value that you're giving to, like, like the Mona Lisa, it's valued so much. But now the Mona Lisa on a digital wallet, oh man, it might have like a high value of those things. And being exposed to that and trying to learn a little bit of those things, it's very inspiring, and it makes me really become interested. And we gotta chop some more up on this, maybe on a different episode, specifically on blockchain. But after listening to that session, I'm gonna pass it on to Gabe on this one, and we're gonna come to the session of spirit. I can't even say the word,
So
spirituality and personal
yeah,
growth.
so we're gonna dive into spirituality and personal growth right here. So I know at the beginning of the conversation, right? You had mentioned that you have a history or a upbringing in the church. So I wanted to touch base about that in terms of like spirituality and what that part of your personal journey was and how that has shaped you in your route to creativity and activism. Yes, sir.
Well,
Heavy.
it starts with, yeah, I mean, heavy and just like light at the same time, if you know what I'm saying.
Right,
But like,
right.
it starts with knowing that without God, I wouldn't,
Mm.
and specifically without Christ, without the sacrifice of Jesus, um, and taking away just like shame and guilt and paying the price for me being a erroneous human being and having my own malicious thoughts and having my own divergence from where I should be going, but knowing that I have forgiveness and I have freedom in that forgiveness to recognize that, dang, like there's so many other people that have gone through history that have done crazy, terrible, bad things, right? But God still used them to make way for something better to come. Knowing that God has done that with them and God can do that with me, that is what gives me the most freedom in my life. So I am a Christian. I say that, and I remember it was a point where I was like, I guess, like, but not like, and I'm not perfect, right? But I wear this as a reminder to say, like, no, like, I'm not perfect, but I'm perfected through Him. Um,
Mm.
and just
Say it
like
again, brother. Say it
recognize
again. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry.
not perfect, but I'm perfected through Him, Jesus
Mm.
Christ. And like
Amen.
for me,
Hallelujah.
it's like for real, like for me, it's like I grew up in it, and it really didn't. I don't know. It didn't connect because it was kind of like this thing that I was taught. This is what you should be doing. This is what you should. Need to. But it wasn't. I didn't have a relationship for myself. And I remember
Mm.
working some crazy stuff, late high school, and it was like kind of right before I was going off to college. And I'm like, yo, fuck about college, like it's gonna be a whole different world out there. What is gonna be my anchor? What am I gonna have that's gonna solidify me and make sure that even in a whole bunch of high winds, like I'm still rooted in who I know I need to be. And then I was like I said, I went through a bunch of crazy stuff in high school. Listen to my music, you hear glimpses of that for real. Um, Happy to talk about that too, but I'm gonna keep it surface level for right now. But I'm like, you know what? I had no peace. I had no sense of identity, and I feel like I was always just chasing and grabbing at a cloud. It just dissipated in my hands. I'm like, when was the last time that I really had peace, really had joy. And I was like, oh, that was when I was going to church and I was a part of that community. And I was like, well, let me take a step back and really find God for myself and build this relationship with Christ for myself. And just recognizing that my gifts come from God and that real love comes from God as the example, like God is love. And to and it just
God is
took a
good.
lot of
God is good.
All the
real, it
time.
just took a lot of all the
All the
time. It just
time.
took a lot of hard
That's
stuff to
good.
really recognize that despite all the hard stuff, there is still good because I'm still here. Like when I said like I woke up today, I'm alive. Like people don't everybody doesn't wake up to
Mm.
take another breath. And that means that God isn't done with me. So what more can I be doing? How much more can I be growing? Because like I heard this in a recent sermon. You can be saved and still be sad. You can be saved and still live a life of mediocrity. But when you allow Jesus to like work on you, work through you, and like you constantly allow yourself to be molded, that's when life just like changes. And that's when it gets more difficult because again, when I go back to like the spiritual warfare, Satan has a data target on you because like, oh no, you out here trying to change lives, you out here trying to make a difference. I really need to like try to hit your kneecaps to like get you in the mental state or like send waves of depression. And I've gone through all these different types of things, but I feel like I get to bounce back and I get to have a sense of peace because I know that, like God really loves me and it's doing
Amen.
something that's greater through me. So like my talents aren't even for myself. My abilities aren't even for myself, but it's to serve and give to others. And yeah.
Mm. Oof.
Amen.
Well, let it
Woo!
be, let it be. Hallelujah.
Man,
So,
you just killed that whole you just killed that whole segment. I don't even think we have any. I don't even know if there's any other questions for that segment.
I,
You just
I
killed the whole thing.
honestly, honestly,
Oh man.
I'll leave. I will just respond with this though. I
Oh man.
definitely align a lot with your story there. It's I wouldn't say a fall from grace, but a seeking, like you said, the self-actualization. Like where do I fit in this world, and how am I going to approach it moving forward, and finding that anchor. Oh my goodness, oof! It's what it sounded like is that it was freeing for you. It was freeing for the pushing you into and giving you that momentum to be able to create, to be active, to delve into blockchain, to be an educator, to be a musician, to be an artist, to do all these things. And I couldn't have said it better, brother. I just really appreciate you sharing your story right there. And I know for a fact that to our listeners and our viewers that they're gonna hear that and it's gonna touch somebody's soul, it's gonna touch somebody's heart, and it might just change somebody's life. Yes, sir. So moving into our last or next segment, should I say, we're gonna dive into 3 for the founders. So
3 for the founders. Woo, woo, woo.
yes, sir. He said, yes, sir. So Tex, I'll let you take. I'll let you take it off with the first one right there, brother.
All right, so
Oh,
it's our time segment for the 3 for the founders. 3 things to know, try, or reflect on. And I think we're gonna let Gabe go with number 1.
here we go, right here. All right, this is gonna be the theme of the day, centering off of the conversation that we have, right? All right, so everyone listening, when it come into a life where you're a turning point, where you don't know where it's going, just know that you could always choose God. Uh, as cliche as it may seem, just listening to the conversation that we've had with Victor Allen today is that in a lot of the situations that we are put in, a lot of the different rooms that we may be in, or the people that we may come into contact with, you can always choose to do better. You can always choose to breathe life into somebody, to speak life into somebody. And I think with the words that were spoken, doing that in the best way possible for yourself. It may not be through God. It may not be, people have other religions that they may align with. Perfectly fine. Do your thing. But just know that you can be the change that somebody sees day in and day out. If you make that choice, you be a word farmer, you speak life, and you give and you try new things. Because at the end of the day, nothing's new under the sun, but you never know until you try it. You never know. So continue to be innovative, continue to do the work, that you're set out to do, and never, never turn, should I say, never close the door. You never know what's on the other side. There we go. So, all right. Might have been a lot. My fault. Moving on to text. You got number 2. Let's go.
Sorry, I got distracted over here. Just saw a ESPN report. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on it. Okay, AFC North, we don't care. Steelers coming out strong. Anyways, number 2 for the 3 for the founder segment is connect with the land. Whether you're in the city or the countryside, take a moment to appreciate and care for the environment around you. Because you tell me what's around you, I can tell you who you are. You tell me what you eat, I can tell you who you are. You tell me what you drink, I can tell you who you are. I think it's very important to connect with the land, because when you connect with the land, you're connecting to yourself. And I think that serves to the purpose of our episode topic today, from soil to soul, how creativity, land, and blockchain shape a better future. That is the reason why my number 2 for the 3 for the founders is. And now we got the hot topic number 3. We gonna pass this one on to our first ever guest in the Voices of Change, Mr. Victor Allen Weeks. I'm about to throw you the lob, and here we go, Lob City. Oh,
Word. Hopefully I'm doing this right, saying this right. But for me, I would say, remember, every moment is a calculated anomaly. I'm gonna say it again. Every moment is a calculated anomaly. You may not recognize why you're in a position, who you're meeting, why you're meeting them, why you're facing this challenge, what you're going through at that very moment. But it's a series of fractal type movements and interactions and breaths and steps to get you to that point. So make the most of it, make the best of it, and just seek to get the gold out of that time, get the gold out of that, the diamond out of that moment. Even if it's in a dark moment, there's something for you to go through that it's for you to be able to go through it and learn how to reckon with it. And it's for you to be able to share that knowledge and gain with somebody else down the line that you just may save your life because you chose to handle your situation with grace and openness and just take it head on. So every moment is a calculated anomaly. So appreciate them, recognize them, and make the best out of them.
Topic of the day: every moment is a calculated anomaly. Wow. Well said. Well, before we wrap up here, let this be a reminder. Your words, your actions, and your purpose all have the power to create change. We are the Voices of Change. We're here to be able to establish and facilitate that discussion for yourself, your community, wherever you're at. Choose God if you don't have any other options. Connect with your land. And every moment is a calculated anomaly. So, I'll pass it on to Gabe here to let us know about where you can go listen.
Absolutely. So, yes, sir. So, if you guys did enjoy this episode, please be sure to check out our amazing content on the Alive Podcast Network app. Supporting this app, this podcast means that you get ad-free access to nearly 100 other Black-hosted podcasts and help keep conversations like this going. Thank you so much.
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you guys.
The Alive Podcast Network. Go download the app. You can access all Black-hosted podcasts on there. Go follow, subscribe. You can also find us on Spotify, LinkedIn, Apple Music, wherever. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Comment, like, share. We got some great content coming up for y'all soon. Yes, sir. That's the one. That's the one.
Sir.
That's the
yes,
one.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Download that. Go check out other Black hosted podcasts on there. And Victor, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. It's been a pleasure to just hear from you. I'm excited to see what's next. And yeah, man, it's been awesome to have you on here today.
Hey, real talk, Tex, Gabe, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for having this platform and again using y'all's voices for change. I think it's really monumental, and it's imperative that we continue to recognize the power and the the power in our presence. So thank y'all for being present and being present. It's just dope. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you, Victor. Thank you again for coming. A lot of words of wisdom. I'm sure that this not only is going to change somebody's lives, but will illuminate an entire new perspective. And to everyone else listening, thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And we are the voice of the change.
Peace out. Peace out.
Gracias.
Hasta luego. Kwaheri, whatever. I don't know.
Tú
Bye. Yeah.
Hasta la
You did.
vista.
Eh.
Yeah.